Hello car lovers driving the 2022 Subaru BRZ. This is the all equipped with the manual transmission. The automatic gets the driving aids. So what to say about this vehicle? First, an overview.
BRZ is a 2,800 pound sports car that is designed from the ground up to be fun to drive. Torsional rigidity, which is the force required to twist the frame of a car, has been increased by 50%, which allows the suspension to do its job more effectively. BRZ's center of gravity is 17.95 inches off the ground. That is less than 1.5 feet or half a meter. The Boxer engine isn't really bigger in absolute size, and it sits low and is positioned strategically to ensure good weight distribution. The engine displacement has been increased to 2.4 liters, and this takes premium fuel only, which sucks for budget-minded buyers. It produces 224 horsepower and 184 pounds of torque. Fuel economy is terrible at 12 liters in the city and 8.8 liters on the highway, a real turnoff, though the torque dip of the previous version is gone. The interior has been refreshed. It was sorely needed. Everything is a bit better, and that means a bit better seats, digital dash, and some of the materials have been upgraded. Other things on this top-of-the-line trim: 18-inch wheels with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer performance tires, LED lights that are steering responsive, suede and leather heated sports seats, 8-speaker premium audio, and with the 6-speed automatic you do get Subaru's driving aids. The manual all-equipped costs $41,055 in Quebec. In Alberta, $37,712. This car is absolutely seductive. No car is as fun to drive for less than $50,000, not even an MX-5. I want one.
All right, so I'm going to start with this exterior styling. The exterior styling is incredible. It soars above the competition, the little competition it has. The mags, the proportions, the color, everything is there to remind you that you are in a sports car. The other cars, often in the category, are cars which are designed to be compact commuter cars, and they have been souped up after that. This car is designed from the ground up to be a sports car. They're looking at the Porsche Cayman. They're not looking at the Honda Civic. So, now that we know what its mission is, does it fulfill its mission? Yes. I was the owner of a Scion FRS, which was the first generation of this vehicle. And so I'm in a good position to say if they made the improvements, if the improvements are what I would have wanted, and I can say yes across the line. First of all, little notes. You're reminded you're in a sports car because it feels so light on its feet. It's got a floaty front suspension like I remember it. It's got these curves at all four corners to indicate to you that you are in a sports car. The noise, vibration, harshness, I think is slightly reduced on the highway. I noticed some sound insulation under the hood and the rear trunk, so that's good on that level. The suspension, I couldn't help but watch other car reviews about this vehicle. Reviewers say that this suspension is slightly less harsh than the GR86, which is its sister vehicle. I have to say that on the Montreal Trail, although you feel the bumps, it's never harsh, and that's really a good thing when you consider it has low-profile sport tires. So pretty good on that level. So that's the ride, the suspension, really direct feel. You're having fun even when driving at the speed limit. You feel the sporty pretension. Just the position makes you feel like you're in a sports car. And I'm going to talk about this interior after, how it contributes to that. The transmission, very choppy, I'd say. It has this kind of like mechanical feel. It really wants to be banged. It's less of a elegant experience than, let's say, the Honda Civic Si. It's different, right? The friction point is a little bit harsher, I'd say, on this vehicle. It's very sports car. It matches the personality of this vehicle. And, well, that's what I have to say about that. What's missing is rev matching, I'd say. But that's about it. The engine, well, I think right now this is not the first time you see this vehicle. When I drove this car, there was a torque dip. And at 4,500, 4,000, 4,500 RPM. And the car would come back to life at 5,500 RPM. That has, for all intents and purposes, as far as I can tell, disappeared. It doesn't scream to 7,500 RPM, but it maintains a steady plateau. And I'm just going to take just these simple curves to get on the highway. Really fun, and the Michelin sport tires really raise the limits. So now you're getting into a vehicle that has great sensation. I'm in fourth gear. It's not setting the earth on fire, and that is 13 kilometers an hour. Pretty darn good. It got there quite fast. I think it suffers from the Honda Civic SI's problem in that it's not quite a German turbo. It's not quite a Korean turbo. It's very good. This is a 6-second car with the manual transmission, 7-second car with the automatic transmission. I think that's pretty good. That's all you'll need 95% of the time. Of course, when you're going on the highway and you're gunning it and you want to hit that 140 fast, you're kind of yearning for a little bit more power, and that is still present. However, not as bad as before, certainly not as bad as before, I should say. Another thing you feel is that with the addition of this engine and this refreshing of the interior and the slightly improved sound deadening, is the car has become much more homogeneous. These seats are pretty darn comfortable for half an hour. I mean, it's comparable in terms of comfort to the average compact, which is kind of amazing when you consider the bolsters. I am not feeling that much leg pressure, though I am feeling pressure. It's not distracting. Pretty good. The sound system plays well enough, I'd say. It's not really that premium. I could use a Bose sound system. However, plays pretty good up to a certain volume with a full bass response, which is kind of nice. The infotainment, relatively easy to use. I just love this layout, this business class layout. Very serious. Digital dash, very serious. Just the facts, right? It gives you just the facts. These dials here and these toggle switches and these like circular ventilation hubs has a very aeronautical feel, I'd say. I'd say everything feels pretty damn solid here. And well, this flip up here to have access to the center console storage feels a bit cheap, but when you're lying your elbow on it, doesn't feel cheap at all. So in terms of the functionality, feels pretty good. Would I go on a 4-hour trip with this vehicle? Probably not. I drove it during the winter when I had it, and I have to say it was not always easy. Though with the traction and stability control, you can get through, but in a big snowstorm, might as well take a taxi. That happens 3-4 times a year. Something to be said about this vehicle, how for me, it tells me that you know, you're not dead on the inside. When I see young people driving it, I see gophers, people who go for it. You would have think the last 2.5 years would have crushed the youth, right? I certainly had a fun-packed youth. There were many of these cars on the road when I was younger. Of course, I would like the young people of today to experience that. I know a lot of people my age and older are trying to like almost crush the fun out of young people. It's kind of weird with their excessive safety-minded orientation. And this vehicle is kind of like goes in the opposite direction of like today's trend. It's really counterculture, and it's fun. It looks beautiful. It invokes passion, which is something I so rarely drive. Everything invokes passion. The driving position, the way it looks, the way it steers. It's not convenient here. The back seat is in existence, so this is passion first, right? And it brings a smile to my face. And when I see people on the road driving it, it brings a smile to my face. Anecdote: Ross, almost 10 years ago, brought me this vehicle. I wasn't a car reviewer, he was, and he said, "Christopher, why don't you try it?" It was a Scion FRS. Well, I bought it, right? So that says something about me, says something about this car, and says something about what it evokes. And if it evokes that in you, buy it. You won't regret it. I know we're stuck up sometimes on sound personal finance, and we can't make rash decisions. Sometimes we can. You're going to remember it until you die. And I don't think I've met anybody who's regretted buying this vehicle. And another thing that it says something about Subaru and Toyota. They've listened to the customer, because all the improvements they've made are what I think I would have wanted, right? And so I know I'm going on, I'm ranting about this, but it's a passion car. It's why we get into cars, and you're gonna feel it. I love this suspension. I love this driving position. I like this manual transmission. The only thing that's missing, once again, is the rev matching. I think that would really go a long way to making it really perfect. And those are my thoughts on the excellent Subaru BRZ. Great job, Subaru. Great job, Toyota. And that is the review. By the way, if you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. And if you really like it, well then of course, you should subscribe. And that is it.